Let's be honest with ourselves. Betrayal never comes out of thin air. It doesn't just strike like a lightning bolt with no warning. No. It builds slowly, quietly, like water dripping into the cracks of a roof. At first, you don't even notice it. A little silence here, a little distance there. But over time, that drip carves out damage until one day the entire ceiling gives way, and everything you thought was solid comes crashing down. But here's the truth most people don't want to face. When a woman begins to emotionally leave, when she starts opening the door to another man, another life, another escape, she does not do it silently. She leaves signs. Always. There are always marks in the sand, cracks in the foundation, traces in the dust. The problem is that most men choose not to see them. They bury their instincts, they make excuses, they lie to themselves because the truth hurts more than the fantasy. And so I want you to listen carefully, not with your ears, but with that quiet gut feeling that's been nagging you, because deep down, you've probably felt it already, that sinking in your stomach, that moment when her laugh doesn't sound the same, that night when her touch feels like a formality instead of affection. That's not paranoia. That's your intuition screaming at you. And if you learn to listen, you can see the signs before the entire house collapses. So today, I want to walk you through these signs. Not the cliches you've read 100 times, but the deep, psychological shifts that reveal when a woman is emotionally slipping away, when her loyalty is no longer with you. This isn't about shaming women. It's about arming men with clarity. Because clarity is power, and without it you are a ghost in your own relationship, walking through rooms where your name is no longer written on the walls. Let's start with the first sign. Her attention shifts and she pretends nothing has changed. You don't need a PhD in psychology to feel this one. You can sense the atmosphere alter. One day she is warm, curious, invested. She asks about your day, laughs at your stories, remembers the small details that matter to you. And then suddenly, almost overnight, it's gone. The warmth turns cold. Her curiosity turns to indifference. She forgets things she used to remember easily, as if your life no longer holds space in her mind. Now, if you bring it up, she'll wave it off. You're overthinking. I'm just tired. You're imagining things, but you know the truth. Women don't detach for no reason. They detach when their emotional energy is being redirected elsewhere. Maybe it's another man. Maybe it's a fantasy life she's entertaining. Maybe it's the simple idea of escape. But whatever it is, the focus that once belonged to you has been withdrawn. And when a woman's focus leaves, it is rarely temporary. It is the first visible crack in the wall. The second sign, she starts hiding the small things. Understand this: cheating does not begin in the bedroom. It begins in silence. Once upon a time, she shared freely. She told you about her coworkers, about her frustrations, about the little victories in her day. Now her stories are vague. It was just a long day, nothing important happened. The color drains out of her conversations, and in its place is a fog you can't seem to penetrate. Her phone, once left casually on the table, is now flipped face down or glued to her hand like it contains state secrets. Her social media shifts, satellite pictures of you disappear. Captions no longer mention you. It acts as if she is curating a version of herself where you don't exist. And if you dare to ask about it, suddenly you are the jealous one, the controlling one, the insecure man who can't trust. That is the trap. The reality is that she is splitting her life into two halves, the one she shows you and the one she hides from you. And make no mistake, that division is deliberate. Now, let me pause here and say this. If you've ever felt like you were being gaslighted, like reality was bending under your feet, you're not crazy. When a woman is emotionally leaving, she becomes a magician. She distracts you with one hand while the other hand is pulling strings behind the curtain. She masters the art of emotional gaslighting, making you doubt your instincts, question your worth, and feel like the problem is always you. But deep down, you already know. You've always known. And that brings us to the third sign. Intimacy fades or it mutates into something foreign. This is one of the loudest alarms, but also one of the most confusing. In some cases, she grows cold. Touch becomes rare, mechanical, a chore to be endured rather than a connection to be savored. She recoils from your kiss, avoids your embrace, treats physical closeness like a burden. In other cases, she suddenly becomes unusually passionate. New moves, different energy, a hunger that wasn't there before. Now you might think, isn't that good? Isn't it better that she's showing desire? But understand this, both extremes tell the same story. Whether it's absence or performance, the intimacy no longer feels authentic. It becomes either a duty, an act of guilt, or a performance designed to throw you off the scent. And the worst part, it's not what happens during the act that tells you the truth. It's what you feel afterward. That emptiness, that quiet disconnection. Like kissing someone through glass. Like lying beside a stranger who wears the face of the woman you love. The fourth sign, arguments appear out of nowhere. Suddenly, small things become battlefields. You forget to reply to a message while driving, and she acts like you betrayed her trust entirely. You leave a plate in the sink, and she erupts as if you've disrespected her soul. These arguments aren't about plates or texts or chores. They are projections. A woman who is hiding guilt often manufactures conflict as a way to justify her own disloyalty. Why? Because guilt is heavy, carrying the weight of betrayal is suffocating, and so she flips the script. She paints you as inattentive, neglectful, emotionally unavailable. That way, she can reframe her choices as searching for herself instead of betraying you. It's not cheating. It's healing. It's not dishonor. It's empowerment. And if you're not careful, you'll start believing it. You'll start apologizing for things that were never crimes, begging for forgiveness you never owed, and taking responsibility for wounds you never caused. But the hardest sign of all, the one that cuts the deepest, is this: her vision of the future no longer includes you. This one is subtle, almost invisible if you're not listening closely. Once upon a time, every dream she described had your name woven into it. Vacations, homes, adventures, plans, you were part of the picture. Then slowly, the language shifts. We becomes I. The shared dreams turn into solo ambitions. When we move in together becomes I've been thinking about moving. She talks about growth, but you're not in the frame. She craves space, but it's never space to grow with you, it's space away from you. And if you confront it, the response is predictable. You're overanalyzing. You're too tense. I just need time. But the truth is that she's already writing you out of the script of her life. She has emotionally detached before she physically leaves, and that's why you feel like a ghost in your own relationship. Because you are. Now, these 5 signs: shifted attention, secrecy, fading or changing intimacy, unnecessary conflict, and future dreams without you are not random behaviors. They are markers in a process. Infidelity, whether emotional or physical, is rarely a sudden act. It is a gradual erosion, a series of small withdrawals until the account is empty. A woman doesn't cheat when she kisses another man. She cheats the moment she detaches from you and refuses to reconnect. The signs are always there. The question is whether you are brave enough to see them and strong enough to act. Because here's the harsh truth. The moment you allow someone to cross your boundaries and betray your trust without consequence, you have taught them that it is safe to do it again. Betrayal thrives on permission, and silence is permission. So, What do? You do not beg. You do not bargain. You do not crumble into desperation. That is the path of weakness, and weakness is what cheaters feed on. Instead, you stand firm. You recognize the signs for what they are. And if she has already left you emotionally, you do the most powerful thing a man can do: you walk away. Because the real power lies not in clinging to someone who has already discarded you, but in choosing your own peace over their chaos. A true man does not fight for a place where he is no longer welcome. He does not plead to be loved by someone who has already evicted him from their heart. A true man understands that respect is not begged for, it is commanded by the boundaries he enforces. If you've ever felt this in your soul, write it down. Let it sink in. Because your instincts are not your enemy. They are your compass. And if you're tired of second-guessing, if you're tired of feeling like a stranger in your own relationship, then stay with me. Because we're not done. These were just the surface signs, but underneath them are deeper psychological truths, patterns that reveal not just what she's doing, but why. And once you understand the why, you'll never be caught off guard again.